welcome to Fabulosity for you, and my name is Angie. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please click the subscribe button, then click the notification bell so when I upload videos, you'll be the first to know. Like this video and make a comment. This channel is about fashion, relationships, advice, and lifestyle. If this is not your first time visiting my channel, well, welcome back, my queens, and welcome to the kings, and welcome back to all of my fabulous ones. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing the finale, the review of the Braxtons. Okay? The Braxtons. So go get your drink of choice, go get your snack of choice, and come back and see what your girl Angie. Text, email, call. You better stick a line in the bottle, baby, and let everybody know that Angie is on the line. Okay? So let's get right into it. Okay, so it started off with Towanda. She is at her engagement party. She said, listen, we're not going to be fancy. It's just going to be having fun, relaxing. I'm going to be fancy on my wedding day. And we spent all our money on our wedding day. So the venue was nice, okay? She came in jeans, her man, Sean, came in jeans. So it was really low-key and all of the things. But the food looked good. They got up and they started going back down memory lane. I saw a photograph. It kind of made me laugh. Back down memory lane. They was showing clips from, their relationship and all of the things. And then they came out and they said that they are going to have a night to themselves. They're going to follow tradition in the United States. The tradition is you do not sleep together the night before the wedding. That the groom is not supposed to see the bride until the next day. And that's what they did. Okay. So let's go on to the wedding. The next day was the wedding. And I don't like talking about kids, but Towanda's daughter looked a hot mess. She is a cute girl, but she had a blue mop on her head. Why? I don't know. But she looked a hot mess. But I really didn't think that that chocolate and purple was going to look gorgeous. But guess what? It was not my vision. It was her vision. So she knew the vision. So the church was decked out, honey, in purple. It had Traci's hummingbird. It was absolutely gorgeous. So they go to Towanda's room where she's getting ready. And she's like, and everybody was like, what's wrong, Towanda? What's going on? And she was on the floor was the handkerchief that she was going to have on her and her flowers. And it was Traci's handwriting. And it had a hummingbird in it. And she was like, oh my God, I just wish Traci was here. I just wish Traci was here. And she just went off crying. And you know what? I could resonate with that because when I got married in my first marriage, I did that. I cried. I cried for my grandmother. And I cried because, let me tell you something, I had a wedding for your ass. I'm telling you, the doves was crying. The doves was crying at my wedding, honey. I had a live band. When I say it was fabulous, it was fabulous. And I had coordinators that coordinated my wedding, and I had them, they also had assistants for me. Somebody came and did my makeup. Somebody else made sure my dress was pressed. I had a Vera Wang dress, honey. I was like, had a wedding for your ass. I had a Vera Wang dress. At the reception, my long dress pinned up, okay? I had 4 ladies helping me. And the band, the wedding coordinator, she said, for the grandmother that is not here with us but are here in spirit, I lost my mind and I was crying like Towanda. And that's where I resonated with her. That's where I could feel her. And, you know, when you have a loved one that has passed that you love and this is a special occasion, just to see the handkerchief and just by me hearing my grandmother when the coordinator said to the grandmother that was not here today. And that's where I bonded at that moment with Towanda. And I understood her in that moment. And everybody was like, even Traci was like, girl, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And she was like, I see that. It said, Traci, it has the hummingbird. And she said, that's okay. That's okay. Traci wouldn't want you to cry. Yes, she's here. And she felt her there. And at my grandmother, at my wedding, when I first got married, I felt my grandmother's spirit. She was there. And nobody might not be able to understand this, but I did. And so did Towanda. And then a glass broke. And she said, a glass broke. That's nobody but Traci. She's here and she's telling me to quit messing with the small stuff, sweating over the small stuff, and enjoy my wedding. And that's where I had the connection, because I felt the same way with my grandmother. So they start the wedding and her bridesmaids are working out. But when I saw Toni Braxton in this laced, it looked like it was see-through, but it was a body color. But she was in a bodysuit. And it hugged her crotch. And I'm like, all the other ladies came out in classy, and they came out with dresses, chocolate dresses. And I'm like, what? I know Toni the living legend, but she was out of order for coming down in that jumpsuit she had on. Now, I really didn't think that chocolate and purple would go together, but it was absolutely fabulous. So they got married and the church was beautiful. They both wanted to walk over until where they was going to have the reception. They hadn't seen it. And when they saw it, Towanda was like, it's so beautiful. And when I saw it, I did the same thing. It was so beautiful. It was purple. It had the hummingbirds of Traci hanging down. Big flowers. It was absolutely gorgeous. And let me tell you something that I didn't mention. I talked about Towanda this whole season. And I was really mad at her for stealing from her sister. But Towanda had it going on. Towanda's body was right for that dress, honey. Her body was tight. The dress was fitting, honey. That purple looked good on Towanda, even with a bald head. I talked about her bald head all during this season, but I wasn't mad at her on her wedding day. She looked absolutely fabulous. Fabulous. I loved it. And so they're at the reception, and it was absolutely gorgeous, right? So Vaughn was having some problems. Turned out the doctor had said he shouldn't even be coming to the wedding. His potassiums was so high they wanted him to come into the hospital, and he did not. His reason was he didn't want to stop his wife from being at the wedding. And how stupid is that? I'll say this. One thing about men, They do not like going to the doctors and at the end of the day, if you go to the doctor, whatever you have, you can help yourself. Get your checkup, men. Even young men, honey. You check your prostates. Check your prostates. But anyway, so Trina was like, I'm going with my husband. So she had to leave the wedding. And so Tony was like, oh my God, she's going to know. I need to tell her. And her mama was like, that's not going to do no good. It's not going to change what happened. Girl, sit your behind down and let her have her wedding, okay? Now, every 5 minutes, Towanda was, where is my sister? Where is Trina? And nobody would say nothing, okay? But she was having such a great time. She really didn't notice, but she noticed. So what ended up happening was that they waited to the end, and Tony was like telling her what went on. Vaughn potassium was high, and they wanted him to go to the hospital, and they left. And she was like, well, I wish y'all would have told me that earlier because I was asking. Meanwhile, Tamar was trying to talk to her producer to figure out which song would be great for her album, and they was talking about that. And then we're gonna go right along to her spiritual guidance was there, and they talked, and she announced that Trina and Tony were willing to come to the sisters event where they can get back on track. Retreat. And the spiritual guidance lady, she was like, well, Tamar, are you willing to take accountability of what you did? And Tamar was looking, she paused and she was like, well, I'm going to stand down. She put her hands on me. And the lady was like, are you going to apologize? And she was like, she ended up saying she would. So after Tawanda's beautiful reception, the girls went on the retreat. Now, I don't know why Tamar would want to have the retreat when Towanda was going on her honeymoon. How could she come? I was sure in the hell would not miss my honeymoon for my sisters. But I'm going to back it up. And this is what I'm going to say. I was really happy for Towanda. I had been really hard on Towanda, saying, oh, why she all frantic? She getting married. She been married before. Why she really want to do this? But I'm going to tell you like this. First of all, when older people get married or remarried, that's a blessing because every woman is not going to get married. Okay, let's just say that. And then to have a second marriage, a lot of women don't have that. And so to be able to find, as you get older, your soulmate is something to be happy about. It's something to be frantic about. It's something to talk about. And I had to pull my emotions to the side because I wasn't liking her this season. But when I put my relationship cap on, because I am a relationship coach, I was happy for her. And I understood her happiness. And I understood that she went through a lot to get to where she was. She had a raggedy ass husband that wouldn't work, okay? She went through a lot. And then she finds someone, her king, and that's a beautiful thing. Everybody don't have that moment again. And she did. And she never had a real wedding. And all her sisters did. So, yes, I understood as I watched the finale, where in earlier I was like, why is she so frantic? She already been married before. But this was her mate. And she never had a wedding. And so she had finally had a wedding of her dreams. And most women want that. And so despite what happened with her sister, despite her stealing, despite he probably don't have no money, I understood that, and I was happy for her in her moment. And she had exactly what she wanted, a beautiful wedding that she never had. So you know what, Towanda, I am, if whoever listening, I'm happy for you, and I understand you when it comes to Sean. So we're going to move it right along to her sister, Tama. So they go to the resort to have a retreat, and Tama have a blow up down like they used to have back in the day when one of them missed out. It could have been Tony, it could have been Traci, whoever it was, they had this blow up down. And when I saw the blow up down, I knew, wow, she was trying to recreate what they used to do. Trina was really tripped out because she was like, well, I really don't, and I'm not going to call her tripped out, but she was like, I don't believe in all this spiritualness that you do. I love Jesus. That's it. And don't you put nobody that's going to ring some bells over me. I want to know who praying for me. And she's there. She's right for that, because it was rumors that Tamar worships the devil, and so does her sister Tony. And I'm gonna put allegedly, they worship the dark life to have what they have right now, which is fame. So I understood totally what Trina was talking about. But so they went, and the lady was like, I'm a spiritual guidance, and we're gonna go back and we're gonna relax and we're gonna bring things out in you guys. And she was hitting it looks like not a tambourine, but something like that. And she told them to relax and lay back, and hell, I was falling asleep, okay? It was real relaxing. Everybody was like, Tony finally laid back. But she stood up, she sat up, and she was sat up the whole time. And she was like, I don't know why this woman is ringing these bells and this and that. I don't know what kind of head she put on me, but I ain't with all that. And Tamar laughed a little bit because she knew her sister is. And she was like, girl, it ain't all of that. And then Tony was like, well, maybe you should talk to her before we came. And she agreed. So then the ladies went to lunch. Okay. Tamar had this lunch. Before they had their food, Tamar just put it on the table and said, I want to put everything out on the table. I want us to be honest. What do you have against me? She said, I'm going to just say this. I feel like I've been attacked. I feel like I'm the sister that you guys always pin on. Oh, well, Tamar, she is this, she is that. And everybody's starting to feel that, and it's not true. We all have made mistakes at this table. So I just feel attacked. And so I want to know, why are you guys mad? So Tony was like, well, because you're accusing me of some stuff I didn't do, that I didn't even know nothing about. So she said, well, let's just get down to it. Who gave the lawyer my address? And she looked straight at Trina. And Trina was like, yeah, I did give it to your address. And she was like, why would you do that? And she was like, why wouldn't I? They came to me and summoned me, a lawyer, and they wanted your address, and I gave it to them. I did that. Tamar said, well, that's all I wanted to know. And do you think that's right? And do you think it was right what y'all did? So Tony was like, I didn't do nothing. And she said, Tony, you didn't know nothing about it? And she said, I did not. So she said, you know what? I am sorry. If you didn't know anything about it and I accused you of that, and I said all the things I said, I take it back. I'm sorry. And so they was real surprised that she said she was sorry. And Tony accepted it. Meanwhile, Towanda doing all of this and surprised, and she looking like a bitch. You never said you were sorry to me. So they get into it, and so she was like, you never said you were sorry to me. You put your hands on me. And she said, but you put your hands on me. And she said, Tamar, I never put my hands on you. And she was like, she put out her laptop. I got it right here. I got it right here. She said, play it. I never put my hands on you. So when she started playing it, Trina like stopped her from playing it. And she was like, whatever happened, it was to break up a fight. It was not to fight with you. And she was like, I didn't say that. I said you put your hands on me. And so you put your hands on me, I put my hands on you. And she was like, you wrong. And she said, finally, she told me, I said, you know what? I love you, and I should never put my hands on you. But if I put my hands on you because you put your hands on me, I am sorry. I'm sorry. It should never have happened. Do you accept my apology? And she was like, no, because you still running a narrative that I put my hands on you. You did put your hands on me. I did not put my hands on you to fight. I put my hands on you to break up the fight. And I'm going to stand on it. So she started saying a whole lot of other stuff. And Tamar was like this, you better take that back. And she said, I take it back. And that's where Tamar softened up. And she said, I should never have put my hands on you because you are my sister and I love you. How can we move forward? Well, how did we even get here? And Trina was like, we got here because you sent us a long drawn out message saying you ain't effing with us. That you're done with us. And Tamar was like, well, I was going through some stuff, but you said that. And what I will say is, when we all know our siblings, and we know how they are, and you know she drama, and if she say some tripped out stuff, you know she don't mean it. As a bigger sister, a bigger sibling, an older sibling, we have to give the younger ones a little grace. Okay? So when she said that, Trina was quiet. And she said, I want us to work this out because I love both of y'all. And that's when they was able to laugh and they ate, good food. They were supposed to have, I guess, that's the skinniest that Toni Braxton has been as she aged. And they saying that she eats air, basically. And Tamar was like, no, I got us fried chicken. We drinking champagne. And they start reminiscing on a good love. They start reminiscing on when they had good times and their sisterhood. And it was fun. It was fun. And they agreed that no, things are not going to change overnight. Not at all. One time of getting together is not going to bring them back where they're supposed to be. But it's a start. And I really believe that when Towanda comes back from her honeymoon, she's going to be more than willing to join in repairing their sisterhood. And at the end, I just had a really good vibe, especially when they start showing the past, what things they used to do, pajama parties, singing. It gave me a good feeling. What I was saying, I've been saying it throughout the whole season, always reach back out to your siblings and try to work it out. You guys gonna fight, y'all gonna scrap, y'all gonna cuss each other out. But at the end of the day, siblings are the next closest family to your wife and your children, or your spouse and your children. And so you have to repair that. And I felt like everything came together in this finale. And I think they're going to work it out. I really enjoyed the Braxtons. They said the Braxtons was one of the number one reality show on We. And I got my closure. I felt lighthearted. I felt good about the sisters. And I'm glad they decided to work it out. And Towanda, I believe, is going to work it out too. So that's all I have. That's all I got. And I'll see you in the next video.